Rachel.
I'm Zahal.
I'm Jenna.
I'm Lindsay.
And we are going to discuss with you selective mutism. And some of the things that we want you to learn for tonight are, what is selective mutism? What are some of the signs that a child with selective mutism would present with? What treatment options are available? What the speech science instrumentation could be used for selective mutism, and also a way that you can, an example of how you can use that instrumentation into a therapy session. Okay, so according to ASHA, selective mutism usually happens during childhood. It's a child with selective mutism does not speak in certain situations, like at school. However, the child would speak at times in the home or with friends. Selective mutism often starts before a child is 5 years old, and it is usually first noticed when the child starts school. Some of the signs of what it looks like: failure to speak in new situations, avoidance of speaking with new and unfamiliar people, complete avoidance of social interactions, anxiety disorder, such as social phobia, excessive shyness, fear of social embarrassment, and also social isolation and withdrawal.
Okay, and these are the different types of intervention approaches for selective mutism. The behavioral approach is the most common, and that's what we're kind of going to be focusing on. There's also family systems therapy, which is, the key component is to identify the cause of the selective mutism, figure out that the parents have a positive and negative influence on the child's speech, and kind of work with the family. And the treatment is tailored to the family dynamic. Then there is the psychopharmacological approach, which is the use of drugs and prescription medications, but they don't know the long-term effects of those, so it's not very good. And ultimately, the main goal for treatment of selective mutism is to get the non-communicative behaviors to nonverbal behaviors to verbal behaviors, or verbal communication. And in the behavioral approach, you use exposure treatments, which is you move in a hierarchy to teach social skills, and they kind of get more comfortable with a certain social situation before moving on to the next one. So like your first interaction with the child would be observing the child and the parent talking, then the speech therapist would slowly move in until they become more comfortable, and then you slowly move the child into the classroom and so on. And then there is contingency management techniques, which is the use of reinforcements, and you find what motivates the child most and reinforce the positive speaking behaviors. And then there is the self-modeling, which is kind of where technology can come into play, where you make a video or audio tape of the child speaking in a setting that was once challenging for them and play that videotape for them to motivate them during therapy. Then there is the social communications anxiety treatment, which is one of the technologies that we will be using in our therapy session. And it's an evidence-based technology, step-by-step treatment, and it looks at selective mutism as an anxiety disorder. And then there is the ritual sound approach, or also known as RSA, which is shaping to reinforce the child's oral movements with sounds that become close to producing phonemes and real words.
So for our therapy session, we had a 6-year-old girl who's selectively mute, and we thought that 3 of her long-term goals could be to improve her social pragmatic communication in speaking to peers. The second one would be to use verbal communication to engage in conversation with new communication partners in social situations. And the third one would be that the client would speak at an appropriate level in order to be understood by her peers. So for this session, we thought that she would produce 5 voiceless speech sounds using the ritual sound approach, provided with verbal prompting from the clinician. She will also cross out 10 sounds of the alphabet that she's able to produce using social communication anxiety treatment, provided with verbal prompting, as well as she would watch a video of herself involved in a verbal communication exchange, and then try to emulate that in therapy with the clinician as well. These are our rationales. So for the first procedure, you would typically start out with an initial vocal test. You wouldn't jump right to speech, as we said before. So for this one, the clinician and the client would work on humming. So the clinician would do it with the client to kind of decrease the feelings of anxiety. And you can also encourage the client to put her fingers on her nostrils to feel the vibration of the hum. And with one of our softwares that we use, Voice Games, the Hummingbird Hover, the longer that she would hum and the louder that she would hum would bring that hummingbird closer to getting the flowers. And that's what Lindsay
That's what
and
we're going
Rachel
We're going to
to
demonstrate one activity. So I'm the clinician, Rachel is my client. Now this app was very expensive, so we didn't buy it. So we
Times are
actually,
hard.
grad school's expensive. So we're just kind of pretending. So hi Rachel, welcome to speech. Okay, so today we're going to work on humming. My little puppet over here is going to help us, okay? So now I'm going to hum, and he's going to hum with us. So I'm going to do it first, and then you're going to feel my nose. We're going to feel the vibration, okay? So give me your hand. You're going to feel my nose. Do you feel it's shaking? Okay, now I want you to try. We're going to do it together, okay? Great job! You got a sticker. Okay, so after she gets her sticker, now we're going to do it with this game that we have, okay? You see this hummingbird? Okay? We're going to try and get him to go to the flowers. He needs them to eat, okay? So, what you need to do, you need to hum really, really long and really, really loud to get that hummingbird to go to those flowers, okay? Ready? Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. You made it! Good job! Here's more stickers. So that would be one way of treatment.
And another technique that we use that we talked about before is the ritual sound approach, where pretty much the client sees speech. This kind of helps the client see speech as more of a mechanical concept. So you would start off by having the client cough, blow out air, and pretty much breathe through her mouth, which serves as a precursor to speech to kind of get her warmed up. And then after you would do that, you'd have the client produce voiceless speech sounds, which would be H, S, T, P, and K. And eventually, both the client and the clinician would work on that together, in addition to verbal prompting, verbal modeling, and visual prompting as well. And another game from voice games that we thought we could use in our session would be Monkey Dash. And for this procedure, since she's young, you can write the alphabet on a piece of paper. And this involves using the social communication anxiety treatment. So this wouldn't really be focused on using eye contact as she would produce the speech sounds. So she would point to different letters of the alphabet to which she could produce. And in order to see if she could produce them, she would produce them, but she wouldn't have to look at the clinician. So that's kind of to lessen her anxiety to be comfortable to speak and produce those sounds without worrying to make eye contact with the clinician or feel anxious about that at all. And also, they can, the self-modeling could be another technique where there can be a video of probably the client with one of her parents in a positive communicative exchange. After watching that in therapy, the clinician and the client would try to emulate that and bring back the same strategies that she used in the video in their session as well to kind of also get her warmed up for speech and decrease her anxiety again as well.
Okay, so the software that we use is called Voice Games by K-Pentax, and K-Pentax is actually a company that makes other speech science related software for like motor speech and voice disorders and things like that. So the reason why we chose this is because it has great graphical environment, it's fun, interactive, so it's really stimulating for younger children who normally have selective mutism. So a clinician can customize it. Again, it's motivating and stimulating for typical speech therapy tasks. It provides real-time reinforcement of clients' attempts to control their amplitude, fundamental frequency, the duration of their phonation, as well as voice timing on and off. So the child could actually see, okay, if I do this, then the monkey will jump up to the tree, or if the longer I hold my voice, the frog will jump on to the lily pad. So it has different themes and it provides stimulation for the child. And this is another, one of the themes, it's a dinosaur, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's for like increasing the amplitude, just getting the child to be motivated to actually produce speech or produce any sound. So therapy applications again are frequency and amplitude control, range and modulation, as well as voicing on and off, and again the duration duration of their phonation. So this is effective as a therapy for a therapy task because, again, it's rewarding, it's good speech and voice behavior for children, and each game, again, can be modified by a clinician to make the task more difficult or more simple based on the science performance and how they're doing along with the therapy. So this is a list of different apps that you could actually get on your iPad or your iPhone. Some of them are free, some of them range from $1 to like $4.99. So again, these are all different things to get the child to be motivated. Okay, if I make a sound, then the character on the screen is going to react to that and will jump up. Or so they actually see that real positive reinforcement stimulated on the game. So these are different ones that you guys could see if you have a client who's having difficulties phonating or producing sound. Okay. And we have 3 questions for you guys. So the first one is, what is one type of therapy approach that can be used to remediate selective mutism?
The video.
iPad apps?
iPad
Yes,
apps?
the behavioral approach.
Behavioral approach. Here's another one. Name 3 characteristics of selective mutism.
Me.
Most likely go a little talking school.
Shyness. Is more comfortable at home but not in like public settings.
More comfortable with peers.
More comfortable with you.
And our last question is, what is one instrumentation that an SLP can use during treatment of a client with selective mutism?
Hummingbird. The hummingbird.
Yes.
Voice and games.
Voice and games.
Any questions?